guys, Big Chonis here, checking in with you live from my last night in Las Vegas. And I want to thank you for joining me tonight because I want to do a quick update on Bitcoin and give you kind of some of my thoughts on the price action we just concluded for this week. We ended the week today and we are starting a new week tomorrow, and we are going to see some pretty interesting price action, I have no doubt. And kind of what I want to start at is first this arbitrage we still see in the price of the non-Tether based valuation exchanges and the USD exchanges. Now on Coinbase, that's the USD exchange. Current price of Bitcoin 64.17. On Binance, Bitfinex, we're around 66.33. So we're a little over $200 still above the price of the actual value of Bitcoin, which technically speaking has to only really be the actual value. You can convert it to actual cash. There we go, that sounds great. And because of that, we have to consider a lot of people, especially coming onto crypto like newly in this moment here, and are seeing these like different prices in different exchanges, not really understanding like what the heck is going on here. All this has to do with Tether and the current valuation of Tether, which is supposed to be pegged at $1, right? And has been having a hard time trying to hold that valuation. Now, right now we are at 97 cents, which means we are still 3% under $1 there, and we are still seeing the after effect, really, of what happened a week ago when the actual valuation of Tether dropped to almost as low as 80. How low do we really go there? Jeepers. 85 cents to the dollar, which is actually what allowed that tremendous valuation change in the appearance to show that exchanges like Bitfinex and Binance were able to shoot the price of Bitcoin, up as high as was over 7,000, right? Yeah, we got as high as where are we here? Whoa, we got high there. We got really high. In Vegas, they got places that, all right, so look at Binance, $7,600 there was where we actually topped off bullishly in our Tether linked exchanges, where $6,800 or so is where we actually topped off from an actual valuation where you could convert it to cash, to fiat. So 6,800 was legitimately where we topped off, and that's important because $6,800 consistently begins to be an area where we can't break through. We've been rejected several times into September, this time into October, and just this sideways price action, which is making a lot of us kind of crazy, but in reality, it's setting up for something bigger, a much bigger move. So over here, I'm kind of get rid of my Bollingers for just a moment here. I wanted to kind of start with this because this is important to get a sense of why there's so much of a disparity. And you have to be realizing when you're looking at charts, you have to know what exchange you're looking at. Only look at the charts on the exchanges that you are actually trading on. If you're on Binance, just stick to the Binance charts. You're going to see a higher inflated price from a USD standpoint than you are from the other exchanges, or from a USD standpoint, because it's based in USDT, so it's based in Tether. But if you're on Coinbase, if you're on Bittrex, a couple other ones there, Bitstamp, they will have the actual cash value, and we're still seeing that arbitrage. Although, keep an eye on Tether at 97 cents. This should be at $1. This should be at $1. That's the whole point of Tether. It's more or less a 1-to-1 ratio with a couple 0.01s off. But the fact that we lost that 15% breaker, then we've done some of this move here in Tether in the past. Let me go to the daily Tether chart. We've had a little areas of volatility every once in a while. 91, 93 cents, but to break into the 80s was just ridiculous. And listen, it's great temporarily that we've been able to climb back there, but still, that's something notable. All right, let's get back to Bitcoin here, okay? So listen, this is our hour chart, and this takes us all the way back to mid-September. So we're literally, let's see, let's go a full month here. So we're on the hour chart, and we're basically 22, 24, right? There, okay. So, all right, for the past month, we have been in this very tight trading range here where we have not been able to get above, like literally right there, 68 and a wick, 68 and change. And our baseline support still remains to be kind of just a hair over $6,000. So for the past 30 days, is it 30 days? Let's check it out here. Date range. 46 days. Wow, 46 days we've been in this range of about $800 plus or minus. But literally $800 of sideways price action. This is so, there's nothing organic about this. This is not retail investors, you know, flopping and playing pong here. This is a lack of money flow from the simple, from the average crypto enthusiast, you know. And because of that, these are exchanges continuing to, what I feel is wash trade, is prop up this market, is continue to get some sort of a sense of that there's a bigger flow to this market that's actually there and actually real in what's actually showing the price of Bitcoin here. At some point, this is going to break. This equilibrium is going to break. Now I want to go to a much higher time frame. Let's go back to our daily chart here. And let's kind of take a look at what we're looking at. Check my OBS here for a second. Yeah, OBS is good. I'm on the Coinbase exchange here. And again, I have to be on a USD. I used to be on Bitfinex, okay? But that price is not the actual price of Bitcoin, okay? Because of what's going on with Tether for right now. If Tether gets back to a 1-to-1 ratio to the dollar, I will go back to Bitfinex. But even that kind of changes the pattern. It changes where we kind of set new limits on a lot of our indicators. So we're looking at the daily chart here, and we just closed our daily candle. And listen, at this point with this low volume, I don't care about the wicks. It's really just the body at this point, okay? So what do we see our body here? So we're creeping up. We put in a higher low, okay, on yesterday's closing candle than we did the previous day. We did wick out and lose a lot of our momentum. We got as high as 64.50 before closing at 64.7. I mean, $30 range. I mean, this wick isn't even a wick. You know, this isn't a wick. This is a wick. Okay, this is a wick. These are nothing. This is nothing moves here. Look, this volume is anemic, and this is notable. I mean, is this telling you that we're on the brink of a massive amount of epic money flow because of, we're all convinced that the sellers are done? I'm not seeing that. You know, these little blips we're having, bullish pops in certain RSI areas where we're able to break through. We're still not able to get above 50 on the daily. You know, our stochastic has taken all this time through all this move here to get pretty high. Yeah, we have a little more running room, right? But this is struggling to get up to something of value, and this tether dump really kind of threw off the entire chart process. It didn't throw it off because here's the problem here. This market has so little retail money flowing through it that it's all based on whales. And mostly the exchanges I shouldn't say coordinating, but at least they're basically finding a way to keep the price above 6K. Now, we can definitely go to the weekly and let's talk about our equilibrium, because this is kind of the whole story here. We're consistently putting in higher lows. We're consistently putting in lower highs, and one of those is going to break. Okay. And listen, since February, I mean, we've been doing this, listen, Bitcoin broke bottom at 6K in February. That was the master bottom. And listen, that has produced several nice bounces, okay? 6K to 11.5, 6.4 to 9.999, 6K to 8.3, you know, 6K to 7.2, and then 6K to 6.4. So 6K, 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 but a lower high every single time. And listen, we can't ignore that. We can't ignore the fact that we are continuing to put in these lower highs. And I don't feel that lower highs with diminishing volume, even though we're holding this higher low, is the big situation that's kind of set out. And the reason is because we haven't hit any of these much longer time frame EMAs. And that's why I want to go to my, let's go to Bitstamp, because that's going to show, no, that's Finix. See, Finix, I can't use Finix anymore. I can't use it. Okay, but we can use Stamp, because Stamp has a much longer life cycle of Bitcoin and gives us more information here. Let's get rid of that guy. Let's go closer. Let's go to my daily. Let's get rid of that fib for a moment. Now, listen, yes, you think this range is tight, but you also have to concede that we could keep this tight range into November. We could keep this tight range for 2 more weeks potentially. And that is notable. There we go. Because that is going to say that we're not necessarily on the verge of the major move like tomorrow, even though tomorrow's Monday. The overall U.S. stock market is going to play a big move, I believe, in this, what's going to happen here. And a lot of the price action we're going to see this week is going to be dictated, I feel, by the equity markets as well. Because even though Bitcoin is the promise that we all feel it can be, and I'm a believer, right now, it just feels like everything feels like it's on an edge. It's on a nice edge, you know. And the chart, I have to go continuously back to the chart and talk about areas, lower areas, especially on higher time frames, like the weekly chart, that continues to show us other lower EMAs that we haven't even tested yet. EMA 100, sorry, MA 100, I apologize, MA 100, 50, 600. We haven't touched it. We haven't touched it. It's just waiting to be touched. And of course, our big boy, our MA 200, creeping above 3,000 for the first time. Okay, but we still can keep this very tight equilibrium. Oh my God, all through next week and potentially into the week after. But don't be surprised if one morning you wake up and you see a bigger move than normal in the price of Bitcoin. And now everybody's talking about, are you bullish, you bearish, you know, which way you leaning? And the answer is simple. Like, what does it mean? What does being bullish mean? What does being bearish mean? Even if we can break, you know, above what, 66, 67, 68, what does that mean? We have to hold. We have to not wick out. We have to put in a higher low than what we did at 7,300. And then we have to put in a higher low than we did at 8,400. And any kind of a bull move we've always seen is had a retrace that's allowed it to continue. So don't feel like you're going to miss the move tomorrow or today. I mean, it's not going to be like, oh, I missed it, I've lost it. This is a moment here, and this could be a moment for a very long time, unfortunately, where we have a situation where we are just continuing to see our volatility rise a little bit, but just a deflating price action because the volume is just not going to suggest, like, yes, there's spikes and there's big bars out of nowhere and wow, look at that bar of volume, but overall we're just, the money's not there. Kind of refresh my coin market cap because we have a 210 billion market cap. Bitcoin dominance is still at 53.7, so we're still seeing more or less, we're not really losing ground in Bitcoin. There's a little bit money flowing into alts slightly in a couple key instances, but our overall crypto 24-hour volume, 10 billion, yeesh. And Bitcoin's overall volume over the past 24 hours, you know, we're again low 3, low 3, low 3. Now our big move day was a 7 billion day. That was great. But that was Tether. That was Tether exiting. That was so Tether exiting. To not be able to sustain that for 7-8 days afterwards. But the bigger moves will definitely have bigger volumes. And again, I just can't post a bullish chart because there's nothing that's convincing me this is on the verge of this massive bull breakout where money and value, again, it's not money, it's valuation. It's valuation. If you see Bitcoin as $8,000, do you feel it's a value? If you see Bitcoin at $7,000, do you feel it's a value? And if you feel it's a value, are you prepared to hold on some sort of a pullback or a major retrace? Because we've seen that time and time again. Profits are taken when the buying is exhausted, and then supports are held when selling is exhausted. But at some point, we're going to crack this nut. And listen, a fake out can happen. But all I got to do is keep to the TA on a daily chart. We're continuing to resist our EMAs, but find support on our low one here. This is my EMA 12, resistance EMA 26. Now again, we keep wicking off on our EMA 26. We cannot close above our EMA 26. Our EMA 55 is still way up at 53.30. Even if we touched it, I'm talking about what, like $100? We feel like we're just grasping at straws here to find a nice bull pop and then feel like, oh, here it is, proven, we're breaking through. But in reality, there's a lot of Bitcoin that's ready to get sold off, I feel. There's more Bitcoin ready to get sold off than there is ready to get accumulated. And because of Bitcoin stability, yes, some alts have been able to pop. Okay, there's the ability to allow these alts to pop in certain circumstances with the right people behind them pushing through it and pumping it and putting money flow through it. And nothing wrong with that. It's totally valid. But it's only because the stability of Bitcoin has allowed that to happen. And at some point, Bitcoin's move, I mean, even a bull break of Bitcoin is not all peachy keen for alts. Remember, if a bull break of Bitcoin could suck money out of alts, just as a bear break will definitely suck money out of alts. The only way the alts really kind of flow, remember, alt season in January of 2018 happened only because Bitcoin already topped off. And people are pulling the money out of Bitcoin and putting it into alts. Now that money is gone. That was when Bitcoin was at 17,000, 18,000, 19,000. Now it's at 6,000. People are not going to pull out of Bitcoin and put it into alts right now. They're going to pull out of Bitcoin and try and convert it to something as safe as they can possibly can. If we break bearish. But again, I talk about breaking bearish, breaking bullish. We know when we break bearish. When we break bearish, we break our all-time low of 2018, which is still around the $5,800, $5,700 area. If you start seeing a 5,600, 5,500, then we've set a whole new course. A whole new course. If we begin to put in a lower low from where we set back in June, right? Ever since June, we've held a higher low. But ever since July, we put in a lower low. Well, not ever since July. Ever since freaking first of the year, we put in a lower low. All right? So we're still can go a little bit longer, a little bit more sideways. And as I said before, keep an eye on next week's equity markets in the U.S. I really feel like it's going to set a timetable. If we can build, if the buy the dip is happening with the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow, then yeah, I could possibly see a pump coming in Bitcoin. I could totally see that happening. But if those indexes are still fighting stress next week, then anything's on the table. And but even in this, remember, we want, as traders, we look for volatility. Volatility allows us to make interesting trades, to get good, quick scalps, and take advantage of oversold and overbought conditions. That's why we use our indicators. On Stamp here, our daily RSI, I mean, we can keep drawing resistance lines, whatever, a little peek through there. It's still nothing until we can get above 50. I mean, it's primed to break out like it did here in July. There was still money in the market then. There was still much more money in the market in July than there is right now. Much more. We talked about our stochastics kind of topping off, not having a lot more running room. Everything, our OBV, we're just losing chunk of money flow. We're losing our momentum. And again, where's this money coming from? Now, we've seen it artificially produce tether exchanges, wash trading. But in the end, we're going to need actual dollar bills to legitimize a bull break of Bitcoin and to sustain any kind of a bullish rally. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for joining me today. this evening. This is super late Sunday night. Last night in Las Vegas, coming back home, and looking forward to talking to you guys next week. It's Big Chonis. Remember to give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this content, and please follow me on Twitter. It's Big Chonis signing out. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.